Have you ever thought my business hasn't had a breakout moment? Nothing really big has happened before. No really big pivot point. Well, I think that's a myth, and so does my guest today on the Breakout Moment. Our guest is Snyder of the Green Bench Companies, and he shares a moment that didn't come from a big bang or a big strategy or a book. Nope, he talks about a moment and an idea that came from a customer. Here's the Cliff Notes version. A residential customer came to his firm and said, "Hey, have you guys ever considered school construction? You know anything about construction? Those are like apples and oranges." Actually, they're more like apples and, I don't know, not even oranges, maybe asparagus. So completely different. His firm decided to take on the risk, and the risk paid off. So if you're looking for inspiration, if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced conversation, today's episode is for you. And I suggest you listen to it with a nice cold beer in hand, because Brett is a brewery owner on top of it. So a multifaceted entrepreneur for a really fun conversation. And now we're just going to jump right into the middle of it. This episode is sponsored by Genesis AEC, Steel Toe Communications. And this episode is also sponsored by Illuminate.
As I go back to when she first introduced me the concept of, hey, what's a breakout moment? My honest answer would have been, we don't have a breakout moment. Or even better yet, the way I view things and the way I think about things is, we haven't hit our breakout moment yet, or we're going to hit our breakout moment. My breakout moment's 2 weeks from now. It could be after this conversation that we have my breakout moment, right? So I view it almost always in the, I'm a very forward-looking person, and so I think there's always a better moment that's going to come. I think there's I'm an optimist at heart, and I think it takes that to start multiple companies and do that. That, like, as you know, it's never an easy slog, especially the first year, and then it gets harder the second year, and then it gets harder the third, and then harder the fourth. So you keep going. It's
a myth that it gets easier.
Yeah,
it's an absolute myth.
I don't know anyone who believes that has started companies. So
no.
We're be approaching our 11th year with Green Bench in May. So I think that we've gotten here.
Okay.
So I think that moment is when I look back on the things that have changed. Like, we came out of JBG, which is now JBG Smith. And we took our whole department with us when we started. So we pretty much had a runway, we had work, we had staff. And then you just had to create a business around that to kind of do it, and then go out and get new clients and all that kind of stuff. But at the time, we were focused on retail and residential, or mixed use of the two. Like, we developed a lot of big mixed use properties. We understood that market, still love that market.
Right.
But if I was just doing that kind of today, when no residential is getting funding, we're not building apartments.
Well, it changes,
in Montgomery
right?
County. It changes. And so as I look at that moment, it was probably, we had a client who was a residential developer client. We had done a couple jobs with them. They were a consistent client. If they were going to build something, we were going to do it all in that residential moment. And he called me one day and he said, "Brett, I'm on a board of a school, a private school in DC. I'm on the board. We're getting ready for a massive expansion. We're not doing well with our current CM, who kind of got us through pre-con and that kind of stuff. Would you guys come in, and because I think I trust you guys, and I just want you to interview and talk to the school about the process." And I was like, "Are you sure you want us? We don't have any schoolwork. I don't have a staff that have done. I had one staff who 3 years ago had done something for where they were, and we're like,
I don't know what I don't know.
I don't know what I don't know. Like, are you sure you want us?" And he was like, "Brett, you guys know how to build, right? Like, you guys know how to take care of people, and how to take care of clients," which is what I am. And it's just, it's different because it's now reporting to a board or reporting to people who don't know real estate, right? Like, you all of a sudden you're explaining a little bit more, you're walking them through the process, and you're letting them know where the risks are, because they're not like a developer who's done it 100 times or 20 times or 30 times. And so we're like, okay, I think we can do that. Like, might have to tweak a few things or get the right staff person. And so had the interview, got the job. The job was fantastic. It just turned out, it was in the middle of COVID, but it was just like, it was like one of those things that just, it worked. And I think we're celebrating, so that was 5 years ago.
Right.
We've now done 6 schools since then in kind of that education market, which I think, as far as a moment, I don't know if it's breakthrough, but I'm glad I have those 6 jobs, or I'm glad I still have 3 active that are going on right now when apartment buildings aren't doing as well. On some of these other markets that we were in heavy are down.
Right.
I'm thankful for the opportunity that we took the chance on it, right? Like you kind of reached outside the comfort zone of our staff. You kind of pushed people to do something that they weren't used to doing. Like all those things, of those pressure points that exist every day, we did it at that moment. And so, like, for lack of sitting here and you have nothing to talk about on a podcast, because I would say we have no breakthrough moments. Like we don't have a breakthrough moment. It's gonna happen tomorrow. I think I would say that was at least a course defining. Now, do I want 3 new apartment buildings to start tomorrow? Sure.
Sure. Right.
We can go back and do that. Like, all the experience is there, everything else is there. So like that's what I would use as my example, just because it made us stretch in ways that I think takes the uncomfortableness, makes you grow.
Ooh, I love that.
I think it forces that, right?
But isn't that life in general? Like, when we don't, we always say, like, people won't, in marketing, we won't pay for it unless it's painful.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the same thing when it comes to growth. If there isn't a little pain there, you're not growing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it really created for you, like, this adjacent revenue opportunity that sometimes I think what's amazing about, you talking about, like, schools, that wasn't something you were evaluating. It came from a customer.
Yeah.
And sometimes the best things come from your customers.
Yeah.
For us, it was the same thing. It was, for us, customers coming to us and basically frustrated with, as an executive, I don't just give it to me what's working and what's not. And the data won't, because my data is in all these different boxes and doesn't talk.
Right.
I'm constantly playing negotiator between what this person says versus that person says versus this spreadsheet says, but I know this is important, but I can't measure it.
Yep.
How can I actually get this to a place where I can just go, this is the source of truth, and we can just move forward because I'm exhausted?
Yeah.
That came from our customers.
Right.
And we responded to that need. So I think, to your point with, just being this, yes, we're always looking forward to the next moment, but I think, we know where those pivot points are. We know where those points are where we're forced to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
And you look back on it and you go, and we did. And,
we did it.
And our people did. And our processes did. And like all of that got a little bit better, that I think made us better owners, reps, better construction managers, a better team, because you're forced to go through those moments.
Right.
So I think that's if I'm saying a moment, I think that's it. So yeah, and kind of to your point, I think the idea of, we would go to meetings with clients, and it kind of goes to exactly where you're at. We'd go to a meeting in the morning, my partner and I, and we'd sit there, and there'd be really smart people in the room, because we thought we were just in meetings and stuff, sometimes to be the smart people in the room to kind of help guide them.
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
No. And we realized everyone else in the room is smarter. Like, they know that they're in their silo. They're the best of the best at, some fabulous names of downtown, DC architects, like the top of their field. And we get to the end of the meeting, and this one day it was this double meeting of, we did it in the morning, and we walked out of the meeting, and like kind of nothing really happened, right? Like there was no like follow up. I'm not sure people were on the same page. And then we walked into a meeting in the second part of the day, whole different group of people, smarter people, a boardroom of people that know their niche better than anyone. And again, we walked out thinking, I'm not sure they actually, I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm not sure, we left the room saying, I'm not sure anyone's going to bring back to the next table, to the next meeting, anything different, because there was no direction. So the following meeting, we were just at the last 5 minutes, we were just it was happening the same way. And we finally just said, can we just 5 minutes, do you know what he needs from you before the next meeting, so we don't sit here and have the same conversation again? And he's like, no, what does he need? And then let that guy talk. And it's like, oh, you need that? I wasn't working. So he'd write that down. And we're like, okay, for you to get that, what do you need from them?
Right.
And they're like, oh, I need this. I'm like, okay, so like you get him, like,
Mm-hmm.
so it just became this orchestra of like playing round the table of who needs what from whom to move anything forward, or it was just going to be really smart people sitting in a room without direction and without kind of like knowing what that key stuff is that, like, are we really looking at the right thing?
Right.
Are we really focused on how are we moving forward on these projects, or how are we getting to that next step? And it's just a lot of it's asking questions.
Yes.
And figuring out what that person needs. Like, and so we spend a lot of our time, especially with our young folks, like, are you making sure everyone walks out of every meeting you have with that next thing? Like, with that, everyone has clear direction on what they're going to do before you all sit down in a room again and just talk.
I think that alone is some of the best advice that you could give somebody, no matter what their age is.
Yeah.
Because we have, I think, so many meetings where we're all in the meeting, and then you get out of it and you're like, no one knows who is supposed. It's like Abbott and Costello in the worst way.
Yeah, and Zoom has made it, I think, slightly worse.
Yes.
I think it's just like, because you're distracted when you didn't hear someone say something because
you're doing something.
Just maybe you got that text at the wrong moment that you had to look at, right? Like, so I think Zoom has made it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Of just from a especially on large Zoom calls. I think that's a little bit harder. So I think you just have to pay attention and make sure you're moving forward at each of those moments, because you can lose weeks, you can lose months.
You can lose a lot of money.
You can lose money like because of the weeks and the months.
Right.
Like it just like it can evaporate quicker than you ever think, just because you're not walking out of the room knowing exactly what everyone should be doing.
No.
So, and I think that's part of our job. Like our job is to coordinate and, make sure people are doing the right things. So, anyway, that's a little bit of a side hustle than a breakthrough moment.
But it is. I think that's really important, though, for people, is to understand, it can be something large, like we didn't do schoolwork, and then suddenly we're in that business. Just like ours, we weren't in the revenue operations business, and then suddenly we're in the revenue operations business. Or it can be something as small as, this is a small shift in how we approach meetings. This is a small shift in how we train our people in, making sure that they know what the next step is, because those little moments add up.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there's this misconception that, it's always got to be big.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be big.
I think it's the small
incremental
changes that you just slowly improve on every day. Like it's the small things that your people are doing that your client may not see at all. That kind of behind the scenes of pushing someone or corralling someone. Like it's all those small details that your team has to understand. Kind of like what are those things that just nudge it. Just not and I'm a big believer that you fail forward. We talk about a lot. Like, you have to get your people. Like, you can't be the person who holds it up. I'd rather have you make a bad decision, and then we can talk about.
Then wait on me.
Then you wait. If you're waiting in real estate and construction, you're losing. You're losing. You're falling behind.
That's almost, I think, any industry sector.
Yeah. Like, because I think it's universal. Like, so we tell people, like, fail forward. Like, yes, it might be a failure. Yes, we'll have a long conversation about how you got to that decision in your own mind, and like whether it was the right decision, or did you not have the right information, or however that worked. But I'd much rather have that conversation with you than we haven't done anything in 2 weeks because I couldn't decide.
How do you, because I think a lot of times what's really hard for teams is to feel comfortable with failure.
Yeah.
How do you bring that back to your team and make them feel comfortable with, okay, yeah, I know this is going to come with a conversation, but I know I'm safe to make the decision.
Yeah. I think saying it out loud. Like, you got to say it out loud and say, I'd rather have you fail. Like, I'd rather have you, and then we can talk about the why. And then I think the other thing is, you have to be willing to, I just had this conversation today on a completely different matter of just like, you have to be able to show your failures. Like, I think you have to be able to walk through so they understand, like, they might look at you and say, she's the owner of a business. It's been around for 13 years. Like, she's never failed. Right? Like, so are you saying enough?
I fail at something every day.
Yeah, right. But are you saying enough? Showing them,
Yeah.
like, listen, I was in this situation and this was a complete failure. When I look about it, I was missing this piece of information. I was missing, like, my gut was off on this. Like, so I think you have to be able to show those vulnerabilities to your people and to your team for them to be able to know that they can take the same risk. We talk a lot about being entrepreneurial, and we want our people to be entrepreneurial. Like, if you have a great business idea, we want to hear it, because if that's where your passion lies, or if that's, like,
let's do
we'll
it.
help you set this up. Like, we'll help you launch, but don't have a failure to launch just because, you don't, like, you think we might not want to hear the idea, or, like, so we talk a lot about it. Like, we talk about it when we're interviewing people.
Okay.
Through
part of your interview process.
Yeah, I listen. I want people to have that edge of like they're not quite settled, right? Like, they're not, like, I want them a little bit on, hey, I could be doing more. Hey, like, it's our mentality. We joke a lot internally that I'm not sure if this is a true HR practice. We like to hire a lot of kids out of, like, rural Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Because I just want them working hard enough where they don't want to be sent back to rural Pennsylvania.
I bet you.
That's where I'm from.
Okay, all right, that's where you're from.
So you could be
but I'm sure for a lot of people, they could, like, flip that out and say, all right, well, it's not rural Pennsylvania for me, but it's like
rural Kansas.
Right.
It's
wherever it is.
Wherever it is that you don't want to go back to.
No one wants to move back in with their parents.
You don't want to move back into your parents. You don't want to move back into the basement of grandma's.
Heck no.
There's a long list of places you don't want to go back to. So it's having that edge, I think, of talk about it.
So you're looking for that in the hiring process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people have more drive that way.
Oh, I agree with you. You gotta know what motivates them.
I want a little fear.
That's okay. Well, we don't do anything when we're comfortable. When we're comfortable, you don't move. It's just like we were talking about at the beginning. Was like, if you're not growing, unless there's just a little bit of something, there has to be a little pain. There has to be a little bit of fear. So we were talking about, as leaders, showing your failures. Can you share a failure that not a Bad Batch beer. Can you share a failure that you use maybe as an example, or maybe even whatever you're comfortable with, something recent that you share with your team?
Yeah. I think I say to my team, and it's funny, like, I had this conversation with someone the other day that was at risk of losing their job and that kind of thing. And he said, like, there's a certain amount of fear, and fear of failure and all that kind of stuff that goes with that. I was like, and I said to him, and I've said to my team, I've been at 3 companies that have closed their doors. Not because of what I've done, not because of, but like the economy, the '08 real estate crash, a
lot of people lost it on that.
A lot of people have lost their jobs, including me, multiple times. And I'm here 10 years in back of, being a partner in a company, 10 years of owning a brewery, like all those things. I think the biggest one I use is that of, like, listen, this might not be here tomorrow. But only work on those things that you can control. I view the '08 economy as weather. Yeah. Right? It might happen. There's nothing I should worry about, because it's not, I can't control it. I can't change it. We're going to get ice. We're going to get ice. I can't do anything about that. You couldn't do anything about those things. Work on what you can control, because at any moment you might lose your job, or, and I tell them all the time, that's why you need to have a network of people. Right. Because who are you going to call? Who is your counsel? Who are you going to when that call happens that we're shutting down operations?
Where are you going to pick up the phone?
Where are you picking up the phone? So have that list. Have the people around you, know who they are, and be able to call. Like, because they're not going to judge you. Like that group that they're not judging you because of the weather.
No, right? Absolutely not. All right. I actually had one follow-up question though.
Okay.
That I wanted to ask, just selfishly,
Yeah.
knowing that you've got a brewery situation.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not even going to call it a side hustle.
No. My wife runs it. I drink a lot of beer there, though.
I can't wait to try it.
Yes.
So my question is, what have you learned in the brewery business that you have brought back into the construction business?
A little bit in the sales and marketing side. I think we are very comfortable. We're very comfortable with Green Bench in that most of our clients are repeat clients. We've done work with them for years and years. Like we're like it's a referral business based upon that, right? Like someone we work with gets a call from someone else and they say, who should I work with? And they say Green Bench, and that's all well and good. I think in the brewery business, like you get some business that way, but the money you're putting into marketing and can design and getting it on shelf and shelf space and just the tweak of this color versus that color and what's getting you noticed. Like, I think it's underappreciated a little bit in the real estate side.
You're singing to the choir over here.
Like, because I think you have to work at it.
You do.
In a brewery situation, like marketing matters. Like, it's tying it all together. In construction, like you could have a good business, like, and this is kind of the opposite thinking of we've changed over the last couple of years is, being an owner's rep or construction management, we're always working for other people, right? Like, so we have clients that they're getting the fanfare, they're getting their name.
Right.
Our business will be perfectly fine if it's never mentioned in the newspaper.
Correct.
Like our job is to be behind the scenes and kind of off to the side and not be the headline, and we're fine with that. Whereas I think I think the two things coincide a little bit as we're kind of starting to develop some of our own projects, as we're involved with a general contractor now, an affiliate brand, like that has to get out there more and put their, like, I think the brewery side of the business helps that side of the brain think and just like prepare me a little bit better for you do want to have a can that sits on the shelf that gets your eye, because you can now walk down any beer store aisle and have 1,200, 1,500 cans sitting there. So what does your eye go to, and kind of how do we do that?
Yep, that's perfect.
So I
think that's a really great way to wrap up. Just defining different way to look at different moments, both the big moments and the small moments.
Perfect.
So
thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Genesis AEC. Genesis AEC, where science meets the built environment. As an ENR number 5 ranked firm, we provide a single point of accountability for life sciences and advanced manufacturing. We integrate architecture, engineering, and construction with specialized CQV, asset management, and sustainability to deliver high-performance facilities nationwide. This episode is also sponsored by Steel Toe Communications. Steel Toe Communications builds marketing from the field up, using real projects, real crews, and real results. They help construction owners attract the right people, tighten up their messaging, and build long-term trust with marketing that reflects how their company actually operates, not something pulled from a template. And this episode is also sponsored by Illuminate. Illuminate empowers businesses with AI-driven marketing, revenue operations, and CRM implementation and training to drive sales growth and strengthen customer engagement. If your business is navigating the messy middle and you're ready to grow with purpose, with a partner that understands B2B business marketing and operations, visit illuminate.com to connect.